What's good, guys, and welcome back to the Analytical Podcast. I am your host, Alissa. This is podcast number 3. So today it's really late. I have decided I wanted to start recording the podcast right after I watch Sunday night's episode of Love Island USA. So today we're going to be talking about what I've been up to this weekend. We're going to be talking briefly about The Bear. I do want to give my full thoughts on it maybe at another time, but for now, I'll just give my thoughts on The Bear season 4 briefly. And then, of course, per usual, every week we do the Love Island USA season 7 breakdown. And we just got done watching a crazy episode tonight. But of course, first things first, tonight. But first things first, y'all can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky. All that information is in my description box. And if you're watching this or if you're listening to this audio only on Spotify, that is at Alissa.Jaden, ALISSAJADYN. I also have a Sims channel where I post weekly, almost every day to be honest. And then I also want to thank my patrons over on Patreon. I'm doing my best to be more active over there. And I feel like I'm getting a good schedule down as far as uploading and not overwhelming myself with all the content that I put out. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. So I want to start with talking about the fact that I was invited to a freaking film festival for the first time and I had so much fun. I want to thank Staley for hitting me up with this amazing opportunity. Um, I was invited to go to the Oak Cliff Film Festival here in Dallas to see a screening of the movie Fuck Toys, which I actually am wearing the shirt that I bought there. That movie was written and directed by Annapurna Sriram, and when I tell you that movie was absolutely amazing, I did have a chance to interview her. It didn't go through, but I will reconnect with her and then post that interview plus my whole experience at the film festival on my main channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to me over there. It was a great movie. I definitely think that you guys should check it out wherever you can, wherever it's screening. I do feel like it's really important to get butts in seats at theaters, and one of my butts, well, my butt was one of those butts in those seats, and I was very glad to be there. It was just really cool to be around so many different people that were creative and like to stay inspired and creative at a place like that. And you guys know that I went to DreamCon at the end of May, beginning of June, and I kind of had a similar experience, but this time it was like actually people wanting to be in the field of like film and TV and stuff like that and writing. And it was just really cool just hearing the conversations in passing that people were having about, just opportunities and being inspired by any of the movies that were playing there. I only saw Fuck Toys, but I didn't I was able to get it for free, so I didn't see any other movies that were playing. I didn't look into it too much, but there were so many different movies playing. It was a 3-day festival, so there was a different set of movies playing the next day. I only went on Saturday. It was really fun. I did actually get to meet Annapurna, and she was absolutely wonderful. She did a Q&A at the end of the screening. I met some really cool people while I was there. Someone that I was sitting next to was basically saying that, like, it was interesting to be around people that were like a little bit older, which probably like 30 something, but he was saying he was only 21. I'm like, this is like super sidebar, but I be forgetting that I'm 25. So when people say that, I don't know why in my mind I'd be like, oh, I'm like 23. Yeah, I be forgetting that I'm 25 and I'm like, oh yeah, huh? Like I'm in my mid 20s now. That was just a crazy realization that I had because I'm like, oh, like I'm still young, but it's like I'm not as young as I was. And so it's like always that hindsight, like, whoa, I remember being at that point. But I would definitely go to another film festival like this. It was at the Texas Theater, and it was a very compact place, but it was so many people there that we were like shoulder to shoulder. So it was very interesting, and it definitely dwindled down as the night went on. But even y'all, I was there until like 1 a.m. It was still packed. So I'm like, man, these people was really out late vibing. It was drinks, all that stuff, and it was a very cool place. It just inspired me to go out more and not just look for events and opportunities that have to do with like, content, but also, just media in general. Because I definitely want to get more into interviewing as far as like face-to-face interviews instead of just like virtual all the time or through like digital connection. I definitely want to make more connections in person, and that's what I feel like I've been working on this year. But overall, Oakland Film Festival was very fun, and I would love to go to something like that again. Let's get into The Bear season 4. Now, I will say I'm a little confused because all the episodes dropped on Hulu on Wednesday, which was a good day because there's no Love Island on Wednesday, so I was able to make a dent in the episodes, but I didn't get to finish it until the next day. But I'm confused because it's definitely an FX show, so I guess I'm wondering if the show still airs on FX at the same time that they're just like dropping the episodes on Hulu. I can easily just Google that, but yeah, if you haven't seen The Bear season 4, there will be spoilers past this point. Thank you. Or, skip ahead. So I just want to get into my overall thoughts. I definitely can tell that they're taking notes from the previous seasons and applying them to the later seasons. Like when there was that whole controversy about like The Bear not being a comedy, they tried to incorporate more comedy in season 3. That was a complete miss because I guess them incorporating more comedy just meant more facts. No, we don't want that. In this season, they definitely dwindled down on the incorporation of the facts. And yet, dare I say, it was still annoying. Like, you could not pay me to care what the hell Francie Fact and Sugar's beef was, and even the resolution. Now, it was cool to see Brie Larson pop up, but like, just wasted casting, in my opinion. I feel like it was like super weird I feel like they really honed in on like treating Neil Fack as like a child, like they infantilize him a lot. And it's like only Sugar would do that, I think, in the previous seasons, but it's like everybody was like talking to him like he was a baby, and like it was just really weird. I found that to be annoying because it's like I don't see Neil as like this like baby character. So they were talking to him like that, and it's like he's definitely a screw up. I don't know why you guys are talking to him like that, but okay. One of my favorite episodes, I think it was episode 4. I can't think of the name of it, but it was written by 𝙎𝙪𝙗𝙬𝙬 and Lionel, and it was really good. Immediately when the episode started, I was like, why the hell does this episode feel like like Atlanta? And I was like, what's up with the tone shift? Like, why the hell does this all of a sudden feel like Atlanta? Just to find out 2 Black people wrote it. Hey, it's all making sense. That was definitely one of my favorite episodes of the show for sure. We got to know a little bit more about Sydney, and I was like, bruh, 𝙎𝙪𝙗𝙬𝙬 really just got like a free a free hairstyle just to record an episode, literally taking down her braids and then getting a whole set of braids put in for an episode, which I knew took forever. That was very interesting to me, but I loved that episode so much. I can definitely see myself revisiting that in a way that I revisit like season 1 and season 2 all the time. In this season, we get the resolution of Carmi and Sid's, well, really more so Sid's conflict with where she wanted to go next with her career. Did she want to be with Shapiro? If that was his name. I didn't note down no names. I'm saying this stuff all off the dome. Did she want to be with Shapiro, or did she want to continue with Carmi? Now, I mean, cool. I guess for her own sake, it would have been cool if she went with Shapiro just to get a new fresh start. And I feel like a lot of people are scared of that fresh start. But like in that episode that I was talking about that was written by her and Lionel, it's like he was definitely spewing some microaggressions and the stuff that he was saying, like with the environment, like unless you want, you to be the only Black woman basically and everybody else looks like me. She was like, no, I don't want that. It was like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't know. It was just very weird. So I was like, I think the environment at the Bear, and this is crazy to say, is just better because I feel like they really are family there. And I feel like that was kind of the hardest thing to do, was like break it off. One issue that I did have with this season, I'm not gonna lie, was that it didn't have enough Tina. I feel like Tina was a great character in season 1 and season 2, and we got so much of her. And it's unfortunate to see that we're getting less of her as time is moving on. Like, what is Tina's character now outside of just like her always having some goal to meet and reach, and then she meets and reaches it at the end? Like, I would really just like to see her character fleshed out a little more. I do like seeing her and her husband interact, but like, I just want more Tina. Like, can a girl just ask for some more Tina? In the end, I don't think that it was a shock to anybody that Sid chose to stay at the Bear, but I don't know. Like, I would like for them to all stick together. And I guess I understood Carmi's reasoning as why he needed to leave. But it is like, Carmi, your solution to everything is literally to just run away from it. And so it makes him very flighty in that sense. But I do feel like it's a little bit different this time because it's like, yeah, actually, like Sugar said, if you don't love something anymore, like, you have to come to grips that that's just what it is. And cooking for him was very, there was love and there was passion in it. He was inspired. And it's just not very inspired anymore. Like, yes, objectively, he's very good at what he does, but it's like, do you even love doing this anymore? And it was just so sad to hear her say, like, when I dropped you off at the bus stop so that you can go, I forgot where he was going, to the French Laundry or something. Like, you were just so full of hope and wonder. And it's like, that's completely different from who you are now. So it's like, from the outside looking in, that's what I'm peeping. Just wanted to say that out loud. So I feel like that definitely had a lasting impact on him, of course, because in the end he decided to change up the paperwork and just have Sydney working at the Bear. But yeah, what killed me was Richie basically saying that he didn't want to officially be on the paperwork for the Bear. He was just like, I mean, this is my home. And I made a joke that it was like he was basically in a common law marriage with the freaking restaurant. Cause it's like, boy, I mean, if you're gonna be here anyway, why not just be on the paperwork? Like, we know you're not leaving, but like, just get your name on the paperwork. He was like, nah, like, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. That was a very intense conversation in that last episode. And it literally just made the whole episode fly. And I was confused as to why the wedding episode was longer than that finale when we didn't need the wedding episode to be as long as it was. Like, I definitely would have liked that runtime to be on the finale, but whatever. Overall, I guess that's all I had to say about the season. Not much happened. I guess I could say something about the Claire of it all. You would think that they would have a better written Claire, but you can tell that they just add Claire into the mix to give Carmi a reason to not be at the restaurant. Because really, honestly, truly, the Claire plotline could easily be replaced with Sydney. Where it's like, I mean, can we not achieve this same goal that Carmi is coming to grips with? Like, he runs away from stuff and he doesn't just give in to the fact that he's in love with somebody or something. Like, can that not just be achieved with Sydney's character? Why it gotta be Claire? Like, I don't see it for Claire. Like, nothing against the actress or anything. I definitely think it's a writing issue with the show. And then, like, the choice of having her like whisper all the time is just like, it just doesn't go with the tone of the show. Or like, maybe that translates to the people making it. I don't know. It's just like, she just feels so out of place all the time. I'm not gonna lie, that gagged me when Carmi went to her house and opened the door and it was one of the facts. I was like, oh my god, is he talking to Claire? But no, he was talking to her friend Kelly, I guess. But yeah, overall, I can't really pull too much out of this season, but it was a solid season. Like, I can't say anything so horribly bad, but like, season 1 and season 2 was just so top tier with the Bear, that I really hope that they really go big with season 5. If we even, get a season 5, I feel like that needs to be the last season of the Bear. And even with their uncle, I feel like he has high hopes for the restaurant. He doesn't want to let it go, but I feel like it's the same situation where it's like, you just got to do what you got to do. 𝙎𝙬𝙼𝙏𝙬, I think that's his name, is basically the lifeline of the dang business. So I think they are gonna branch out maybe in season 5 to just franchise the sandwiches. Um, We got some Mikey in this season, but not too much of it. And I was even talking about the Jamie Lee Curtis of it all. What's the mom's name? Donna? I was like, it was such a gag to see Jamie Lee Curtis, but now it's like, dang, Jamie Lee Curtis being like every freaking episode now. Like she's a regular. So it's like, okay. But okay, I forgot to bring that up. I loved those scenes with Carmi talking to his mom because it really is up to Carmi to be on that path of like forgiveness with his mom, and his mom is actually trying, but you can tell that with Carmi's track record of running from stuff, it's like that's a really hard like that's the root of him leaving is his mom and Mikey. And like I say all the time in all my stuff, all my videos and stuff, it's like you don't know how far you've really come until you get back in the bullshit. It's like you think you're healed, you think you're past everything, and that's only because your choice was to separate from those situations instead of actually dealing with it. And then once you're in those predicaments again, is how you react in those predicaments to show if you've really made growth. So I think that was the realization that he came to, was like, oh shit, like my mom really is trying. She's saying she's sorry. She hasn't drank in a year. She's not being crazy like she was. So yeah, that part I definitely was like, whoa, like that part definitely hit home as somebody with some mommy issues, but you know, his situation a little different than mine. But it was just beautiful to see that Carmi is also trying, because I feel like more than anything, he recognizes that he is like his mom, and he doesn't like when people say that, like when he was locked in that freezer and Richie called him, okay, Donna, he was pissed off. But it's like, I mean, yeah, that's where you get it from. But yeah, I like the growth. This definitely felt like a transitional season for growth, and hopefully we just see those things come to fruition in season 5. But let's get into Love Island USA season 7. Okay? I think the last time I talked about the show was when 𝙎𝙬𝙼𝙍 was voted off of the villa. So it's been some time. I've marinated in my thoughts. I feel exactly the same. They definitely voted Jeremiah off because they see him as competition, but that's so far removed from where we are now. It's been a whole week. I definitely feel differently about Jeremiah as I did before with him now being outside of the villa, because I definitely think that we didn't get time to really see Jeremiah flourish and be himself, which he even said out his own mouth, like he just didn't have a chance to really show himself. But it's like, I mean, that just wasn't your story. That just wasn't your story. You're back home now. You got your phone. You on TikTok sweating no life. And it's like, this is where now your fan base can see who you really are. And this was the path that you were meant to be on. Like Love Island was just to get your face out there with people. But now you have the complete freedom to show who you really are to the world. And so I'm cool with that. He did an interview on something called the Something Files. Look, I should have noted it down, but it was this very first interview after leaving the villa. Now, my only gripe with that interview was the fact that most of it was centered around him and Huda. And he was okay with talking about it then, because that was his first interview outside of the villa. But then you could tell that it was like, okay, I'm sick of talking about this in every other interview that he was in. And I wish the interviewer would have asked more about Angelina, just other stuff that was going on in the villa, or just really got him in on what was happening outside of the villa and asked for his opinions on that stuff. I did like that he asked about like Nick and Olandria and stuff, but I feel like most of the interview was about Huda, and it's like, I mean, okay, like even in the villa we were tired of hearing about that. I don't want to hear Jeremiah's thoughts on the Huda situation outside of the villa, because he kind of reached his point of closure in the villa. So we already know what he thinks. Now, the gag is going to be when Huda is out of the villa, either at the end of the show, after the finale, or if she gets voted off, what she thinks of the situation after the fact, because she's the one that actually had to go through a period of growth. And we definitely see that from her now, but I just didn't want to hear about it anymore coming from Jeremiah, because it was like, we were sick about hearing that in the villa. So please ask him something else. Now, one thing I do want to say from the last podcast, I be telling y'all, I was telling y'all, I don't see Taylor for Olandria. I was vindicated. I was absolutely vindicated after these few episodes, y'all. Taylor does not like Olandria. Ooh. 2 scenes that completely pissed me off this week. One being JD talking about Huda being dominant in that weird ass conversation. And 2, Taylor in Olandria's face talk about maybe you're just not liked. I was like, he has to be kidding me. Because if you watch my content, I talk about this a lot where 1, I don't like when people are mean to me. I don't like when people are shady to me. Immediately, I'm going to think that you just don't like me. Like, I don't care if it's a joke. If I don't know you like that, that's not a joke to me. I'm just going to assume that you don't fuck with me. Like, I don't even play like that. Like, immediately it'd be a chop with anybody that thinks that that kind of stuff is funny with me. Cause it's like, I mean, what is the point of saying something rude or mean or shady to someone that you consider to be a friend or that you consider to be someone that you at least like to some extent or tolerate? It's like, what's the point of the shade? I'm just going to assume that you're shady. So him saying that to Olandria was like, yeah, you just don't like her because like, it's just like some jokes legitimately contain true thoughts and feelings and people try to mask it as a joke. So I was like, he's just so immature. And that was just so like the way she handled it. I was like, oh girl, her and Huda with the JD situation. It was like, now they could get a little fire, a little spicy, you know, a little something. But they handled those situations with such grace. But I'm like, get me on that villa. Let me handle it. Because ain't no way. It was like in that situation with Olandria and Taylor, it was like Ace pulled out her chair. Pepe gave her a snack. Then Nick gives her the shirt off his damn back. And then you talking to Taylor immediately after. And he talking about maybe you're just not liked because you don't have a handshake with anybody. Like, he's so weird and I feel so vindicated, especially he chose Clarke in the end of all of that. It's like, you want to be with Clarke, stay with Clarke. And I had posted a clip of Olandria even talking about, which is crazy, and I'll get to that, where I've been saying, now I wouldn't say that I never saw it for Taylor because I do think that when they first met, they used to joke around. Mind you, that was probably for like 2 episodes max. They used to joke and play and everything was like smooth and cool. But after they had that blindfolded kissing challenge and Olandria got up and kissed Ace, it was a chop for Olandria on Taylor's end ever since that. And he was trying to say, oh, I'm not bothered. That doesn't bother me, this and that. But y'all, the way you just watch everything play out and seeing how fake Taylor has been from the beginning and how he doesn't say exactly what he feels, I'm like, so I was right. He did feel some type of way about that and he just wasn't saying, because it's like, how are you stringing along Olandria all this time and not saying that you just don't like her and you're waiting for somebody to come in that you actually like and you're going to drop her like a fly? He wasn't saying that he didn't like her kissing Ace. He was just like, I'm cool with it. We said we open this snap. But then after that, it's a recoupling. Sierra then came in with Chelley, you standing up at the fire pit for a chance to recouple with Sierra. And Olandria was pissed about that. And so I posted that clip on my TikTok where she was just like, if a 5 to 10 minute conversation changes your mind about how we feel like maybe it's just not a real connection, then she brought that up in tonight's episode. I'm recording this on June 29th, where she brought up that Taylor stood up for Sierra, because it's like, yeah, his head turns fast and he will go after what he actually wants. So I'm glad she clocked that tea, and I'm glad that she's saying that it's officially over between her and Taylor. But sister, I need you to stand up. I need you to stand up. I was getting absolute secondhand embarrassment watching Olandria do all of that for Taylor. And y'all, I'm telling you, this is all the stuff that I was talking about in the last podcast episode. She was doing all that stuff for Taylor and Taylor never did it. How, if you really like somebody, it takes nothing to just go out of your way and do something for them because you actually want to do it. And it's kind of like second nature. You're not looking for no thank yous. You're not looking for no praise. You just doing it because you just want to, and that's it. He didn't want to do any of that stuff. Olandria literally made a whole charcuterie board for them to sit at the dock and talk. That takes zero effort to do. He wasn't doing any of that, and everything that he did was with Ace's help, or she had to coach him and guide him through all of that. So watching her do that dang photo booth thing Oh my gosh, that was probably the worst thing that I ever saw in my life. And she was like, I'm messing with his head. She keeps saying that like I'm fucking with his head. It's like you can't fuck with nobody's head if they didn't like you in the first place. Like, please, sister, I just need you to stand up. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? The producers noticed she want her a cowboy. They brought in Taylor. They brought in Jalen. She chose Taylor in the end. Jalen ended up going home. I'm like, at this point, I think they're just playing with her because it's like, y'all know her type. Why haven't y'all sent in anybody for her? But y'all sending in people for everybody else. Like, why is she not getting her cowboy? Now, granted, she may not go for them because we tried with Jalen, but it's like, hold on, keep trying, y'all. Keep sending in somebody for Olandria. But I think the producers are seeing what the people are talking about outside the villa and are just using her for mess reasons. And my good sis has been through enough humiliation rituals, and I think it's time to send in the love of her life. Thank you very much. And also just her and Clarke. Now, I will say, I don't know if this is unpopular or whatever, but I do think Olandria was in the wrong for not pulling Clarke for a conversation because Clarke didn't do nothing to you. Now, we can see the shade from our end. She can't see the shade. So it's like, I feel like Taylor is the one that should be getting all this vitriol, and her saying like when they were kissing, like she built that. It's like, I feel like she definitely just feels like everything that Taylor is doing is because of her. Like she built him brick by brick to be affectionate and this and that. But it's like, I mean, he wasn't even being affectionate with you. So how can that be something that you built for him to do with somebody else? No, Clarke just activated that in him because he's actually attracted to her and actually likes her. So he's doing that with her. And I feel like a lot of people have been in those situations where it's just like you don't understand why somebody that you liked or was even talking to is now doing all the things that you wanted with somebody else. But you have to come to grips with yourself to say like, oh, they just did not like me. Like, that's just it. They didn't like you like that. And I feel like that's what Olandria is having a hard time doing, is realizing that he doesn't actually like her. Because even in this episode with this heart rate challenge, she still talking about she fucking with his head, and so she picked him. And now, mind you, that was Elin was plotting. Elin was freaking plotting. But I mean, I wasn't mad because I be wanting drama and mess. So I'm like, hey, I'm not mad at them picking Taylor and Sierra to do their big final move. I'm not mad at it, but I just need Olandria to freaking stand up. But also just wanted to talk about Clarke as well, because I feel like I'm having a hard time finding what I feel about Clarke. I will say with a lot of people, Austin, TJ, Iris, Jaden, even she's new, are boring. Elin is bringing something to the villa, I guess. Like, Elin is at least bringing a little something, you know, a little personality. Chris is bringing a little something. And I think that definitely is just based off who he's paired up with. I think he works well with the guys. Like, on his own, he probably is a little boring. But Clarke, I think, is just a little boring. She seems a little, like, awkward. And maybe that's just the thing. It's like you're surrounded by cameras. You're surrounded by people. You're like, one out of like 20 people on this damn villa, one. So it's like you're just constantly surrounded by people. But I just don't like how people are talking about her. So maybe I just have like reservations about going in too much about Clarke, because it's like I understand when like Black girls are quiet or just have like don't emote a lot or just have like rest in bitch face. People automatically put like, she got an attitude, she's mean, she's stuck up, she this and that. So it's like I be trying not to use that language with her, because I just feel like she's just a little bit of a quiet girl. But that does not put it past that she be being shady to Olandria. So it's like I can only judge her based off what I see with that. Like personality wise with that, yes. And then I don't like how people are talking about her hair, her face. It's like you guys are being borderline transphobic, if not just plainly transphobic, with talking about her and how she has a quote unquote manly face and stuff like that. I'm just like, now that stuff is where I feel like it crosses the line, because it's like, what did Clarke really do to y'all to be getting all this vitriol as far as how it comes to her looks? People talking about Coco, talk about, oh my God, her tooth is yellow, this and that. It's like, your front teeth are always going to be way wider than your side teeth, because your side teeth you use more, and your front teeth you don't really use. And also, like, white teeth aren't just like natural. You have to get your teeth like bleached and whitened. Like, naturally your teeth are not shiny white. So I just don't like when people get into too much of judging people's looks on a villain. It's like, let's keep it to the actions of the villain, what we think about that stuff. I just be feeling like people be going too far with that. Oh, the elimination. So we also got an elimination at one point, and I will say, in that moment where Taylor chose Clarke, and then they had a chance to keep somebody in the villa out of all the people that were single and vulnerable, they ended up choosing Olandria and Elin. I wasn't shocked. Everybody else that went home deserved to go home, in my opinion, except for Coco. Oh my gosh, Coco, it wasn't supposed to be like this. You were supposed to still be in my villa. JD went home. I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Zach and Vanna, I think, were the 3 people that went home, plus Coco. I do think that it was hypocritical that they allowed Olandria to stay when Olandria was not exploring, but that's also the reason why they sent Jeremiah. But then again, I was like, okay, if they were to send Olandria home, that actually would have fucked up their whole relationship with all the girls, because that's the girl's girl. And also the guys really love Olandria. They was fighting for her. So I'm like, maybe she's just universally loved in that villa. So it was like a no-brainer to keep Olandria. Now, I was seeing it. Even I was talking to my sister. She was like, I hate to say it. And I was seeing people say even in my chat. But it was time for Olandria to go home. Now, I think logically, yes, in that moment, it was time for her to go home because she was so stuck on Taylor. And I feel like you don't learn a lesson if you're continuously put back in those same situations or not given a chance to really see where you messed up at. And I feel like for Olandria, if she would have went home, she would have gotten that wake-up call for real, even after Taylor chose Clarke. But she didn't. She still was able to stay in a villa with Taylor, which, mind you, Taylor, talking about he wanted her to go home. It's like, no, you just don't want to deal with Olandria after you just like put pie in her face in this situation. I feel like he wanted the Nick treatment with how they recoupled that first time, and Nick was able to send Bella home. And I'm like, I guarantee you, Nick was like, whew, don't got to deal with that anymore. And I definitely think that Taylor wanted that. But then it's also like, I feel like that's why they get along so well. Nick, Taylor, and Ace, like, they were trying to figure out what names to call themselves, Three Stooges or Three Musketeers. I was like, stick with the Three Stooges. Thank you, because that's what y'all are. And everybody was in the comments saying Ed and Eddie. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly who they are. So let's stick with the Three Stooges. But yeah, I wouldn't have been too upset if Olandria went home because I feel like she got her second chance. But it's like, look, if Huda's still on the villa, everybody can stay. Like, if Huda's still on the villa, everybody can freaking stay. So with this last episode that happened, Olandria ended up telling Sierra that she kissed Nick. And I feel like that's what we were all waiting for, to see how that was all about to go down. And I was definitely one of them, to see how Sierra was going to react, because from my perspective, it was pretty crazy that happened. So Olandria ends up telling Sierra that she kissed Nick, and we was Nick and Olandria down. We was Nick and Olandria down for a couple days, actually like one day. Now the OG people that been Nick and Olandria, I was eating real good, but we only got that for like 24 hours, and then the next episode they were done. So that was messed up. That was so messed up because I was ready to ship them and take them to the end. But yeah, anyway, Olandria ends up telling Sierra, and then Nick ends up telling Sierra. Now I will say, I don't think that Nick likes Sierra like that anymore. I feel like, and he said it himself, he likes people that don't like him back. He likes the chase. So I think that he definitely chooses Sierra to be safe. Because even after the kiss he had with Olandria, he was not thinking about her until Olandria said something. And y'all, Olandria can't hold water for nothing. Olandria is going to be the first one to spill the beans. She told Taylor that she kissed Nick. She told Sierra she kissed Nick before Nick could even say something. And then Nick finally said something. Mind you, I guarantee Nick would not have said anything for a long time, which he didn't say anything for a long time. Olandria was the first to spill the beans, but she didn't react. She didn't give a damn. And I thought that was a little strange that she didn't give a damn, but I'm like, you can't tell people how to feel. If that's how she feel, then that's how she feel. So then Iris ends up telling, Iris finds out that Olandria and Nick kissed, and she was like, what? And Sierra's like, I mean, I don't really give a damn. And Iris was like, well, I think you should give a damn. Like, that's one of your best friends in the villa. And she kissed your man, basically. Like, that's a little weird, don't you think? Now, I actually did think that Iris was in the wrong for saying that. Because I was like, I mean, yeah, just get a different perspective. Just get a different perspective on the situation, because I mean, I think we all thought Sierra was finna crash out about that, because they was boohoo crying about Olandria leaving, and it's like, okay, do you go to the villa and you kissing up on my man? I would at least question it, even when they came into the villa together holding hands and all of that. I would at least for a second be like, huh, so what happened between y'all? What was that? Were y'all just coupled up to just be in a game? Was it like actual feelings that y'all have for each other? Like, what is going on here? Because I'm gonna feel like I'm being like played, and she was being played for a little bit during that 24-hour period where Nick and Olandria was Nick and Olandria down. So I wasn't too mad at Iris for at least just putting a little perspective in her ear, but it's also like, keep it cute, because that's my girl. And also the vitriol, I think, should just be on Nick and not Olandria, because from my perspective, it's like, from the viewer's point, Olandria was the only one that was genuinely vulnerable. Olandria is stuck on Taylor, but Taylor don't like her, and we can see that as the viewers. So we want her to explore. So I'm not mad at Olandria for exploring, because she was the only one really that was vulnerable and needed to explore. Now, was Nick the person to explore with? Maybe not. Maybe not. But still, I mean, the producers put them together. Might as well explore the couple that you're already in. Nick knows that the only person that he has is Sierra. He got voted off. Nobody on the villa wanted him. Yes, Olandria said, you know, like, oh, Elan's over there. He looks just like you. He's your twin. They're having a good connection. But us as the viewers can see that Sierra turned him down for that kiss and was like, you know, I'm still on Nick, this and that. And Nick knows that Sierra wants him very bad and will choose him to the end. And so it's like, Nick, you know that you and Sierra are good. Why are you exploring? Because even when she came back, you were just acting like everything was peaches and damn cream. Like nothing happened. Y'all still solid. So it's like, I feel like the vitriol should be on Nick more than it is on Olandria in that scenario. So I'm glad that she talked to Nick about it and didn't really get on Olandria. So then we get to the heart rate challenge. Elin is like, we gotta pull Taylor and Sierra and for our big finale, and they did. So the big conversation that's happening right now, which they showed in the first look because they knew it was about to be some tea, right? Was Huda doing too much when it came to the Chelley situation with the challenge and Ace? Okay, I can't give a definitive answer. I can't give a definitive answer because it's like, I feel like I see both sides where it's like, I mean, that's the general rule on the villa that when we're in a challenge, like, especially a competitive one, it's like, you got to do what you got to do to win in a challenge. And like, that's kind of the thing of like, I mean, the producers be making it messy to where they got to do all this stuff with everybody. So it's like, I mean, anything goes, right? But I feel like there still is a line with Chelley. I said this before in one of the podcasts, I guarantee it. I think that she just likes having her way on this villa, and she has not been taking it seriously with her options. She was just in a love triangle thing with Austin and Ace. I think that she just like not being solidified in something and not really putting a label on stuff, and just likes to flirt and have conversation, and that's as far as stuff will go. So with Ace, yeah, she's Ace down, but then now she has this connection with Chris at Casa Amor, and Chris didn't leave. It's like, it's different when it's a situation like, who was it? Who was in a connection and they left? I don't even know. I think everybody that left didn't even have a genuine connection, but it's like pretty much everybody that somebody had a connection with at Casa Amor is back at the villa. So it's like, it's different if somebody left. Like even Taylor and Olandria, it's like y'all didn't pick any of the people that y'all wanted to stick with, and some people did, but then the person that you also had a connection with is still in the villa. So it's like, it's up to y'all to just cut that off or keep it going. And like Chelley said, it's like, I mean, those feelings aren't just gonna go away, but it's up to her to see if she wants to explore it or not. And I feel like it's a bit late in the game for her to still be feeling like she want to explore with Chris, because like, you gotta lock in. We about to be at the finale now. You have to lock in. Chris was her original Casa Amor connection, and then Huda was with Chris. So I don't think that it's like messy for Chelley to even be still talking to Chris, because it's like, I mean, that was my original connection. You pulled me for a chat to say, hey, I want to talk to Chris, not the other way around. And I said I was okay with it. And we are kind of at this mutual agreement that we're both talking to Chris because this is freaking Love Island. But when it comes to Ace, You know that's my one, and that's been my one since day one, so that's a bit different. And I feel like with the challenge, even Pepe out of his mouth was like, this ain't feeling like a challenge. One, messy as hell. Pepe is literally messy as hell for saying that. It was like, okay, I've actually had a connection with Chris and Casa Amor. We're kissing over here. He pulled me, we kissing. By the time we get up, y'all still at it. It's like this. It's given when Andrina kissed Pepe at a challenge because Andrina want Pepe. Like, this is kind of your chance to pull those people that you like, oh, I really want you, and do the most with in that specific challenge because you're trying to get the heart rate up. It's like, but this is Ace. Ace and Chelley been together since day one. So it's like, just out of respect for the situation, maybe just do a lot, but don't do too much. So I see why Chelley is mad, because it's like, you can't help your feelings and you can't help how you feel about that situation. That'd be the whole thing with everything, where it's like, people be mad and people be upset in the villa about certain stuff because they have feelings for these people. And I guarantee you, anybody that has feelings for anybody can't control how they feel about a situation when their feelings get hurt, or they feel like somebody did them foul, or they person is doing something. It's like, you can't help how you feel. So it's like with Chelley, it's like, I mean, she can't help that she really likes Ace, and it's like she's feeling some type of way about Huda doing too much, because I feel like Huda, how she behaved in the beginning, set her up for failure in the long run. Because, like Chelley said, it's like, you set that up to say, hey, you know, challenges are challenges, but then after we wouldn't do anything with Jeremiah, you would be like pulling us to the side to say, hey, I respect that y'all didn't do too much with him out of respect for what we have in this and that. And it's like, you know, you are a girl. But then now you also want that coverage of a challenge. It's a challenge when you're doing too much with somebody's man, where it's like, okay, yes, everybody has that coverage of like, it's a challenge, but like, I guess from Chelley's perspective, it's like, because that's how you were moving in the beginning, that's how I'm expecting you to move from now on, because you expected that of us. So it's like, unless we had a conversation about this is going to be the switch up, I'm going to be doing the most in these challenges, that's what I'm going to be expecting of you. And then also, I just feel like Chelley have not really been messing with Huda after Amaya came into the villa. Like, Chelley was the most vocal about how she was speaking about Amaya as a bombshell, when Amaya was like, I want to talk to Jeremiah and this and that, and Huda was like, she's a messy ass bitch, I don't like her, da, 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 da. Right. So I feel like after Huda did all of that, I think Chelley has been feeling weird about her in the first place. So I don't even think she really fucks with Huda in that way, but I feel like they have a mutual respect for each other. And more than anything, I know parents say this a lot, but it's like, you don't gotta like me, but you have to respect me. And I feel like they had a mutual respect for each other, whether they really liked each other or not. But then it's like, once you cross that boundary of respect, I feel like that's where stuff gets muddled, because it's like, okay, hold on. Because at this point, it's the principle. It's the principle of the situation, right? So I definitely see both sides of the situation. But one thing I will say is, like, Huda has to stop crying every time she's the bad guy in a situation, because it's not going to get you no sympathy and no empathy, especially in a situation like this. And I'm like, Huda definitely seems like the competitive type anyway. So it's like, I can understand how she's doing a lot in these challenges just to win, which she kind of did, because she got Ace's heart rate up at the end of all of that. And it's like, now that just solidified Chelley being pissed off. And Drina messy as hell for going downstairs right after that chat to tell the girls what she was saying, but also that just shows where Andrina's loyalties are with the girls. And we'll just see how this stuff play out in the next episode tomorrow. But Andrina now going for Pepe is very interesting, because I didn't think that she wanted him in the beginning. But I also I've always never seen it for Brian and her, because I just don't see it for Brian. For his age, I think he's like 27 or something, 27 or 28. He just seems like a little immature to me. And I just don't see their connection in that way. I definitely think that Jeremiah was the best connection for her, but I'm starting to like Pepe more and more, so I wouldn't be mad if she started to get to know Pepe, only because I want to see where that goes. And it's like, I mean, Grayson and him, cool, but like, I feel like ever since Hannah left, we're not getting Pepe screen time, and ever since Jeremiah left, we're not getting Angelina screen time. And it's like, okay, I'm starting to like Pepe now because he seemed like a cool dude. Then I'm like, I've always liked Angelina, so it's sad to not see her on my screen as much. And the most we see her is like getting to know the girls or talking to the girls. And that conversation she was having with Amaya actually got my life, and I was mad. She got a text in between it and it cut the conversation short. But if they got together, that just means more screen time for the both of them, hopefully. So I wouldn't be mad if that happened. But that's all I got as far as Love Island thoughts, y'all. Just wanted to talk about that. Casa Amor is now over and we're nearing the end. I cannot wait until they do that tweets challenge so that they can see what we're saying on the outside of the villa, because what was pissing me off the most was they would be like, oh, we just seeing what America sees now. It's like, you don't know what the hell America see. Actually, y'all way off. You're way off. But I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast. And if you made it to the end, please be sure to give us a follow on Spotify and leave a review if you're feeling generous. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to give the video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with any analytical podcasts. Or if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me again on TikTok, Instagram. All that information is in the description box. And if you're listening to this audio only, that is at ALISSA.JADYN. But for now, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you guys in the next analytical episode. Peace.